to not continue the toxic cycles? Like, what does that look like specifically in your family?
Yeah, brother, growing up in Boston, the Irish Catholic alcoholism seems to kind of be the vice of choice, right? And there's
Mhm.
been other stuff in my other sorts of addiction in my family as well. So to break that is something, yeah, I'm really proud of. And to my father's credit though, he was an alcoholic. He did stop when he was 44. I was like kind of grown by then though. Like I was like 16,
Mm,
so it was like I was 14. Sorry. So it was like, I wasn't a little kid needing dad as much, it's like I still needed
mm.
every teenager still needs their father, but it was kind of interesting because it was like his fog kind of lifted and I was like, who's this guy? You know what I mean?
Really? Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, it was like I was discovering who my dad was because he was either working or, partying a lot of my childhood. So like I didn't even really know who he was. Then he
Mm.
like the fog lifts and he's sober and he's like present and he's just like, he's trying to
Wow.
be a dad. I'm like, and he's trying to be a dad. And I'm like,
Oh
what?
man.
Like, who are you?
Yeah, I never even thought about that, what that would be like. Man, but yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, bro. It
Tell
was
us more
crazy.
about that.
It was crazy. But like, I've been to funerals of other friends, like their dads who died from alcoholism, liver failure, whatever, whatever side
Yeah,
effects are.
cirrhosis. Yeah.
Yeah, heart gives out or whatever the case is from alcoholism. So I've seen the consequences of that. That could have easily been my father. Lucky enough,
Mhm.
like I said, when he was 14, he stopped. To his credit.
Or
And
when you were 14. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, when I was 14
Yep.
and he was 44,
Yep.
they had me yeah, my parents had me when they were 30, which is what
Yep.
I am right now, which is crazy to think that,
Yeah.
they had me at my age. Yeah, so he stopped when he was 44. And like I said, yeah, it was weird because he kind of, yeah, was more present, was like trying to give me advice and shit. I'm like who are you? You know what I mean? Like there was this
Yeah.
weird moment of like we kind of had to build our relationship from scratch almost in some ways, like me and my father. And now we have a good relationship and proud of our relationship. But it was interesting because yeah, like the fog of addiction was lifted from him and I've tried to continue that in my life. I had my issues like in college, right? I had those experiences, the binge drinking,
Mhm.
all that stuff, but at this point I'm not doing that anymore. So to
Yeah.
continue that, the effort that he started, to his credit, in the middle of his life, to continue that pattern of or no, to stop that pattern of alcoholism that is, my grandfather, my great grandfather, like we can trace it back, like it's been here. The Irish,
Yeah.
it's just the Irish, how they deal with trauma, from them being persecuted, right?